Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason, and one of Chicago's most popular museums, if not the most popular. This is the Museum of Science and Industry. Actually, now it's called the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry. I'll explain more about that. There was a marker here, but I will be taking you inside. It's a very fun museum. It's kind of like being a kid again. It's good for both kids and adults, mostly for families. A lot of hands-on exhibits. And I won't show you the whole museum like I always do when I show museums, or showcase museums, but I will go ahead and show you a few favorite parts that are notable. Hopefully that'll get you to visit here sometime. So let's get on with the tour. So this is arguably Chicago's most visited museum. I mean, yeah, Chicago has many museums, some bigger than others and some more notable than others, but yes, the Museum of Science and Industry had 1.6 million visitors last year from people all over the world, and it was Chicago's most visited museum last year, at least. But then it was also the 12th most visited in the United States. And then it wasn't until May of this year, 2024, that the museum changed its name to the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry, because for various reasons. Now, I don't know how long the sign's been up here, probably for at least not even 5 months, because like I said, this is September and it was back in May when they changed the name. But at one point right here, it was a Chicago landmark sign, the square black and white ones, the black ones with the white text. And I'll go ahead and read off what it's once said. Now, this building was originally built as the Palace of Fine Arts for the World's Columbian Exposition, and then this plaster-clad structure later became the first home of the Field Museum of Natural History. Now, that eventually moved to the museum campus, which is north of here, closer to downtown. But after the museum left in the 1920s, the decayed building was reconstructed of stone for the Museum of Science and Industry. The exterior is an exact copy of the original Beaux Arts style design, but its interior was remodeled in 1929 and 1933 in the Art Moderne style, under the direction of architect Alfred Shawn. And then this was designated a Chicago landmark of August of 1995, and unfortunately I do not know where the marker, I don't know if it was moved, or I don't know if it was temporarily or permanently taken down, but my friend Sean, who I met up with on this visit and this vacation, he was the one that submitted this, and hopefully he's all right with me using that photo. but yeah, at one time there were at least 200 buildings as part of the Columbian Exposition, and a lot of them are no more. And interestingly, the only other building that was left from the Columbian Exposition was the Art Institute of Chicago, which is downtown, from the 1893 fair. Yep, that's right. I mean, you can kind of tell because of its retroness, but definitely a lot of great architecture. And I see something interesting. Let me see what this is. Okay, so it says the Museum of Science and Industry underneath that blue and white sign. This cornerstone to be opened in the year 2052. What? So there's a time capsule in there. Huh, I'll be damned. Okay, so 2024, that's 28 years from now, if I'm doing the math correctly. I don't know if I'll be around that year. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but yeah, wow. Can't wait to see what's inside there. All right, so the entrances, there's actually two different entrances, and they're both in those buildings. So, and that's pretty much where you do the drop-offs and all that. Look how amazing this is. Wow. There's a sitting area, and kids and adults can walk over that, and you get like a little scientific thing going on. But I'm gonna read a little bit about the legacy of Julius Rosenwald. His quote up there says, "I have long felt that Chicago should have, as one of its most important institutions for public usefulness, a great industrial museum. In 1911, the Rosenwald family took a trip to Europe, spending several weeks in Munich. One morning each week, Rosenwald would tell his two youngest children that they could go anywhere they wanted in the city. And every time, his 8-year-old son William picked the new science museum, the Deutsches Museum. Having spent many days exploring its unique, interactive, and hands-on exhibits, Rosenwald became convinced that there should be a place just like it back at home in Chicago. And so the idea for the Museum of Science and Industry was born. Now, Rosenwald, for those that don't know, he found success in retail, first with his own clothing company, and then as part owner and president of Sears, Roebuck & Company. Yeah, I remember that. So he helped build into one of the biggest companies in the world. But he later made his mark as a philanthropist. And he also supported the construction of more than 5,000 schools for African-American children in rural communities in 15 southern states. Those came to be known as Rosenwald schools, and they were responsible for educating 1/3 of all African-American students in the South. Sadly, he had not lived to see the institution he had championed, but he was not forgotten. When Chicago's newest museum opened on June 19, 1933, 1 year after his death, it was introduced to the world as the Museum of Science and Industry, founded by Julius Rosenwald. So, which way should I go? Should I go that way or that way? So I gotta show you my one of my favorites already, and this is the model train area. I mean, you don't see the train, you see the skyline of Chicago. That, of course, is a Sears or Wills Tower. I don't know the names of all these buildings, unfortunately, but you do see the L. Well, you can't really see it now because it just went away. But that is the track. Oh man, this is so cool. All these model trains. See, that's an actual Amtrak. That's how I got from St. Louis to Chicago. Now it's going to go under that fake tunnel, but we've all seen them probably out in, if you've been to the west. Wow, look at all this. And then we got kind of one of those fakes or miniature small towns. Why did the lights go out? Oh, now it's nighttime, I get it. Wow. This is like one of those old-fashioned freight trains. And then right next to it is the old, now we're seeing the Amtrak one again. Alright, so I imagine this is Seattle, because that looks like the Space Needle. And all those double-decker and all these freeways on top of each other. Man, I've not yet been to Seattle at this time, but I imagine that's what the skyline looks like. Now over here, I guess is your port where they stack the train cars and all that. Oh wait, I can actually operate the crane. Hang on. See? Yeah, that's me. As long as I'm pushing the button. Now this one I imagine kinda is like the one in Colorado, and by Gunnison, Colorado, where it's like way up high. You got like one of them long bridges, and then it goes through a little tunnel. Man, I don't know how many days, years this diorama has been put into place, but man, this is just so awesome. If I had the money, if I was a millionaire or anything that could afford all this, man, I'd be making this, doing something like this. And of course, if I had more time on my hands, I'd set it up and everything. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't one person that did this, obviously. And now I am in the upstairs part where the train was, and I'm gonna learn how to, let's see, I'm gonna fly a plane, but I'm gonna use this button to start the wind. Here we go. Let's see how that goes. Next time you ride a plane, this is what a turbofan engine looks like. Very amazing. Stuff that you don't ever see. And now I'm gonna go into a Boeing 727. Oh boy. Look at this. See, that's where our luggage goes. I mean, I knew that before, I just didn't realize it goes directly below us, you know what I mean? There's a lavatory. I don't know why they ever did call it the lavatory. I mean, bathrooms go by, it's like a thesaurus. There's like a lot of different names to call the bathroom. The John, the ladies' room, little girl's room, you know. But I always wondered why lavatory was associated with airplanes. Alright, let's go down here. Look down. Man, I really do feel like I'm on an airplane. Except there's like nothing, nobody here. Or I'll go into the cockpit, how's that? So this plane kind of dates back to 1964, if I'm reading that right. Man. You know, I never really wanted to be a pilot until probably a few years ago, but I was like, well... I was like, man, if I were a pilot, I'd be able to travel anywhere I wanted to. Of course, there's so much to learn. But it'll pay off. Yeah, during the 1960s, flying was a luxury. I mean, airline stewardesses, well, now they're called flight attendants, but of course, nowadays, you know, the post 9/11 world, it's just a lot of things have changed even during the pandemic. But I still like to fly. I mean, I'll do any mode of transportation, you know, depending on where I go. Like for Chicago, I chose to go by train. Man, look at that. Man, look at that. All the beer and wine and coffee. I don't know if this is for real. I imagine that it is. I guess they had to have permission from the FAA to do this, but like, you can watch live the flights above Chicago. So look at all these airplanes that are above Chicago right now. And then flights from around the world. Like right now, there's like nothing in that section of Nevada. But it's very interesting that all over the United States there's a plane flying. Very, very interesting. Iowa? What? I don't know. Nebraska too. I'm surprised a lot of planes are flying over there. But yeah, very, very interesting.
Let's go ahead and do so. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, it's gonna fire 2 more times. You can take a look up at this light bulb and watch it light up. Because there's a lot of electricity building up in the coil right now. It's going to fire
Tesla
1 more time.
coil.
This is going to be a little bit longer than the other.
Here's a real pendulum. It's like strapped all the way to the ceiling, but still, it's really cool. Over here it talks about the history of it, while on the backside does. So scientists often set out to answer questions that seem unanswerable. How can we show that the Earth rotates and we can't see or feel it? In 1851, French physicist Leon Foucault designed an experiment using a pendulum that made the imperceptible motion of the Earth visible to everyone. Here's what the dude looks like. Wow, that looks fun. Then again, so does that. Like a hurricane or tornado, that's what it is. Alright, so this is an avalanche. I'm going to make this thing slower. And then I'm going to make it faster. Wow. Slow. Force chains. So what I'm going to do is turn the wheel. Interesting. Like magnetism. Hello.
This is Big Twisters. It's a bobble.
Tornado vortex.
In a roundabout way.
Very cool.
Alright, so.
Yeah, that takes me to grade school. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason, just outside the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago in the South Side, near Lakeshore Drive. And I'll give you a few tips. Yeah, definitely get the city pass. That'll help you big time. You can also get discounts on gift shop items as well. And yeah, again, it's a family-friendly activities, lots of cool things to do and explore. Maybe you can splurge on some exhibits. And unfortunately, none of the L station lines come here, so you're better off taking the metro if you're relying on public transportation like me, or buses. So just a little tip. All right, I'm Jason, sign off.